You want to join us?
Yeah, send me the link. I'll be on in a minute.
Dean Chambers. All right. Dean Chambers says he's going to join us shortly. So let me email him real quick. And I think the four of you who are waiting for waiting. Oh, man. What's happened to me? Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to go live within Chrome. I'm supposed to do that in Chrome. My fault, people. StreamYard link. All right. We got a few people on. That's normally we get our Philippines and Far East crew, but it is, what time is it right now over there? Crazy late right now. Let's pull up the back screen real quick just to check on that. We haven't officially started the live yet, kind of. I mean, we have, but technically speaking, we have, but discussion wise, we have not. And let's go here. Do I need this? Cap sheet, which we'll come back to, I'm sure. Okay. Schedule. Yeah, we're going to need the schedule too. Current time, Philippines. 4 in the morning for them on a Monday. So I hope they catch this later. Show comments on stage. My fault. I like to. Good questions. Can the Warriors get Giannis? Kind of depends on Giannis, really. We'll get to this. I am more of a mind of swinging for the fences. Exactly. We have discussed that particular approach on our live streams. Hold on, let me fix my chair so that I can move closer to the camera. Oh, that didn't work. That just banged into the table. Yeah. I'm in my bedroom, so the background setup is not the best. But again, this is why I wanted to come on here. The the old "we need a big man" tweet, just like dude in the comments, fire Kerr. I don't know which which one is more. Let's do a poll. What tweet have you? And by tweet I mean meaning any email comment on socials. Have you seen more? Oh, I just realized I've got to widen the screen that I have here. What tweet, meaning any emo comment on socials, have you seen more? Fire Kerr or we need a big man? You only get to choose between those two. Okay. Here's the thing. Let's recap the last week or two. Really the last week. If you go to our YouTube channel, on the back screen, as you can see, we have these ones that you can tell from the font. Keep Calm and Kaminga On. That was the previous video to this series of helping Warriors fans lower their entropy. What do I mean by lowering your entropy? Entropy is a scientific term that refers to randomness, chaos. Like when when a when a cup of coffee falls off a table, it breaks. That means we're going into higher entropy. There's more disorder. So now we want to go back to more order, like in nature when there's music played nearby trees, and the trees start to respond to the vibrations in an orderly way. That is lowering your entropy because it's becoming more ordered. It's like, honestly, anytime there's music or vibrations, and part of that is you. We all give off vibrations, we do. And the Money Long Instagram clip that I always play is a good example of that, where I'll just leave a link in the comments because I'm using Firefox right now. I should be using Chrome. About vibrations and J. Cole. Because I'm using Firefox and not Chrome, you would not be able to hear anything here. Unfortunately, I figured that out recently, that you need to run StreamYard on Chrome. But yeah, just get it all out. True mentality. I'm going to talk about it right now. And that's why my particular background, like, it's purple because I want to promote our Discord server, which is right here. And these are in the DMs, but I just posted this where in the every post, you see it's a stack of books. So that has everything. Here's a little intro from Mali Leon, the new two-way player. But anyways, you can see we got tons and tons of stuff. And of course, I'm going to promote our own content as well. But as far as this morning, 11:10 a.m., injuries reported by Underdog. Al Horford is out. And Danny Emmerman went to the length of letting us know that, by the way, Draymond Green, and good on Danny, is not on the Warriors morning injury report. So, but the first thing that actually came out was the Underdog. They keep close tabs. I mean, you could just keep refreshing the NBA injury report site and look at the PDF, but Underdog has automated that in a way. And so that's where we get that info. And that's the latest and greatest on the Warriors this morning. Now, I did write an article about what we're going to talk about. It's on letsgowarriors.com, and I posted that on our Discord this morning. And that's right here. Steve Kerr said, we've wanted a space big man for a decade. That was in the pregame of the game the other night. And if we're going off of the game the other night, I thought the game the other night was very indicative of some of our weaknesses, maybe more so indicative of what we're missing than obviously the road trip, because the road trip we did not have Steph. And so Steph comes back, but we also didn't have Draymond. So you can't really pin the Warriors' identity based on Minnesota. However, Minnesota is currently the 6th seed. Quick look at the NBA standings. And by the way, what I'm saying right here is all in our letsgowarriors.com Substack. The latest article literally talks about what I'm saying right now in this intro to our discussion here. The standings have Minnesota at 6th. They are 16-9. And we threw away basically 4 games. Remember those? Milwaukee, Indiana, Portland at home, Orlando at home, full strength, pretty much all the main guys healthy for those. So you can literally say that those 4 games we gave away. Now, Bruce on the live stream 2 nights ago was saying, "Now I count tonight's game, Minnesota. I count that as a giveaway." I disagree with that. I disagree because we didn't have Draymond. Like we are not as close to our um, identity that we want to be due to Draymond not being in the lineup. Also, obviously, Al Horford has not been in the lineup, and he certainly, the identity we really want would be the one that won the Denver game at home in overtime. That one, even though we actually played the first quarter crappy and really, really 3 quarters were kind of crappy, and then the fourth quarter, Steph went crazy. In fact, Steph went crazy against Minnesota. We erased a 12-point deficit, and I'm gonna sort of. Bruce gave me some good advice. He's like, "No, don't do the honest recap, right? We have honest recaps right here. Is one, and there's another one here, and that was the first time that I did one was against the Sixers game." So I was going to do another honest recap of the Minnesota loss, and Bruce says, "Nah, don't do that. No one's going to watch it." And so what I did was I wrote the article, and I did analyze how we lost the game. Now we lost the game in 2 spots. The first spot, as you know, from the 9-minute mark, from actually less than that, it was 96-91, and even Steve Kerr said this on the podium. It was 96-91, and then things went haywire. 96-91 became 108-96, 17-0 run, right? So remember, we'll just quickly go through this. So this is sort of an honest recap within a larger discussion, which hopefully I can get this all done by 12:45. It's 12:06 right now. We got a Niners game that I need to go watch with my dad. So Moses Moody reverse layup. I was like, oh, that was a great. Even it was Brandon Pajemski with a really nice pass. Okay, and then Dean's in the house. But Dean, hang on. Let me get through this honest recap real quick. All right, Naz Reid comes right back with a 3. If you look at this, wow, they don't have any links to watch the replay. Okay, they do. I just had to refresh it. If you watch this replay, which I won't do because on Twitch, I was doing some of this during the live stream the other night, and Twitch banned me. Twitch gave me a copyright strike for some strange reason. So I'm staying away from the. I could show you, but these plays are more continuous, and it's not like I can go record the play and just choppily re-show them to you. But Naz Reid getting a 3, and Moses Moody completely lost him in transition. And then by the time he figured it out, he ran right into Rudy Gobert on a screen on the wing, which is something we had a lot of trouble with if you even just go through the play-by-play right here. So that one was lame on our part. There was also the Pajemski threw the ball to the other team. That was really bad. Then we called timeout, but that didn't work. We come out, ATO, Jimmy Butler shoots a 14-foot late shot clock fadeaway, no good. And then Rob Dillingham goes the other way, and that's where, on one of these, I think it's another play, but on one of these, we'll get to that now that I'm remembering this. See, I've analyzed this now. This is my fourth time analyzing this play-by-play stuff. So I'm telling you right now how the Warriors lost the last game. Then Quentin Post comes back and he takes Rudy Gobert left side, lays it in, no good. Okay. And Terrence Shannon comes back a mere, seconds later and And I think he broke the heels of, I think it was Moody. Then Pajemski, another bad pass. However, Dillingham comes on the fast break, tries to lob to Dante DiVincenzo, of all people. It's a very, very bad pass. Pat Spencer steals it. Quentin Post missed a wide open three in transition. That's okay. Good shot in rhythm, unlike the other 3-pointer that I'm going to talk about. And then they come back, and once again, they score on a putback. I can't quite remember who lost who on that one. There are a lot of point of attack mistakes. And I think that one may have been Melton, to be honest with you. Melton even had a point of attack mistake. So did Jimmy. Jimmy had one of these. I think this Dillingham one, yeah, this one was Jimmy. Got burned. Looked like an old man against young Dillingham, the rookie. And then this one, Quentin Post gets a hand grenade. You guys know about hand grenades. I forgot to link it in the article. He gets a late shot clock catch from Jimmy. Jimmy's working, and then he gets it to Quentin at the last moment, and it's a brick from the side, right? Here they come again, and but they miss a couple threes. We get the rebound. Sub Steph in, sub Guy Santos in. At this point, we still got 5 more points to go through, or 8 more points. And remember when Steph razzled that? Actually, the ball popped away. It was a bad pass by Guy Santos. Luckily, Steph tracked it down. Then he's dribbling. He's razzle-dazzle. Behind the back to Pat Spencer. Wide open corner 3. Hand grenade. Brick. They come back down. Pajemski has to foul. And guess who didn't get back on? Guess he got back on defense. He just didn't guard anybody. Pat Spencer. Everybody's making mistakes. That MFer, yes. He makes tons of mistakes. I pointed out all the time on our honest recaps. However, his positive contributions have outweighed the mistakes. Oh, here's Melton. Melton comes in later, and so he'll get beaten by one of these guys. This one, the Dante reverse layup, was once again on the wing, go to the big, get the handoff, and we can't cover that. We just forgot how to cover that. Number one, we didn't have Draymond as the help on the screen. Number two, so credit Chris Finch. Excellent game planning. He's like, oh, they don't have Draymond. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go set a pick and do some handoffs and do pick and roll from the side. They have trouble with that. So we couldn't figure that one out. Dante goes baseline. Bye-bye, Quentin Post. Bucket good, reverse layup. It's 106-96, 15-0 run. And then this one, McDaniels floating jump shot. That one is simply Jaden McDaniels beat, you'll never believe, DeAnthony Melton. He beat DeAnthony Melton. So that's one place where we lost the game. The other place where we lost the game, quite frankly, I mean, I'm going to say it. It's 119-118. And Jimmy and Steph play pick and roll. You can go to the Instagram of, no, it's not on there. He didn't post it. Ernie, Jimmy's right-hand man. Ernie posted it on Instagram stories that night. Actually, no, it's in our Discord because I saved it on the Discord. Check this out, guys. Saved it on the Discord. That's why you guys got to get on our Discord. Here's the Discord. Our free Discord. It's on the WAP platform. Let's go Warriors. Discord free. You get on the free version, pretty soon you're going to be wanting to get on the main version. By the way, we're on Facebook right now as well. So let me star this real quick. And this is the play that made it okay, this is the play that potentially could have been the game winner. Steph and Jimmy are going to do 2-man action. Jimmy's going to roll. Steph's going to find him, And then Jimmy does, he's like Andre Iguodala. He tries to make the right play. But the other thing is, which Ernie was arguing on Twitter right here. I love this. Speaking of X, speaking of Twitter, this is why X is full of people that hide from their stupid takes. Dante is already all over him by the time he even gathers. Rudy is about to block his shit into the backboard. QP had 5 seconds to shoot it. But hey, yes, take the wide open layups, because what they did was the angry people on Twitter, and please don't be one of these guys. We already have one of them in our comments as I speak, at least one. Jimmy Butler's Ben Simmons impression, says some random dude, was the turning point. He turns down a dunk and potentially on one to throw it out the post. Who wanted no part of the play? If he wanted no part of the play, why did he wait so long to shoot the three? This is worse than Simmons because Jimmy can actually make free throws. This mentality has to change going forward. So they got the screenshot. I mean, this, slow motion is very slow. So this is a moment where it looks like Jimmy has an open lane, but it's debatable. It's debatable. Let's watch it in real time. Oh, I see the problem. It's it's down here because in Discord, this is the preview for Twitter and it only shows the photo of it, but I did manage to copy and paste the video right here. Here we go. So I agree with Ernie. Like in that moment, that split second, they happened to catch the 0.05 seconds where it seemed like Jimmy had a lane, but I think Dante had already challenged the shot. And there's Rudy Gobert lurking. But regardless, what actually happened in real life was that Quentin Post got the catch so wide open. You could not be more open than that. Plenty of time, so much time that he thought about it. He's like, oh, okay, I'm wide open. And I don't even think he took a dribble. Like after the game, Steph was on the podium and says, look, I'm not here to judge people on this play or that play because that's not what I do, which I love. I love the fact that he said that. Although that's what we do, right? We're not QP's teammate. You'd like to be, but look, at some point, here I am. We need to talk about some more macro things. And what I noticed was I think QP had deer in the headlights. So we'll bring on Dean real quick. I think QP had deer in the headlights. I've had that. I used to play, I wrote about this in the article. I used to play in like the Chinese New Year's tournament in Chinatown in San Francisco. It's like a big deal. Obviously, you have to have Chinese ethnicity to play. And I was that guy. I was the guy that could, score 21 points in it's 20-minute halves, right? I'd even get my name in the paper, right? You go get the San Francisco Chronicle, and they have the box score, or the not the box score, but like a run-on sentence box score of all the games in the Chinese New Year tournament, and you could see your name in there. It's pretty cool, right? Scored like 21 points, but the thing that people didn't realize was, come crunch time, at least in the championship game, crunch time, or was it semifinals? We had to play like Cornerstone. Cornerstone's one of the foundational organizations in San Francisco that has like Chinese players. San Francisco Associates, which you might know from Japanese League. So they got Japanese and Chinese. There's this team from Chinatown. I don't know if they're still around. They're called Duke. They're called Duke. I think it's a reference to Duke University. I don't know. But their colors are like they're like the Lakers colors, like mostly gold though. Gold and little tiny hints of purple. and they would dominate. They would always have like their legacy players. They were like the dynasty. So like it was intimidating to go to the Chinese Rec Center. It's like the Boston Garden, and I'm telling you, man, I could score 21 through 15 minutes of 20 minutes halves, but then in those last 5 minutes, I would get nervous. I seriously had deer in the headlights, and I couldn't. I didn't want the ball. So I know the feeling. I know how QP felt right in that moment. I mean, I'm speculating. I think that's how he felt, and because it's either that or he purposely wanted to delay to draw the and one. And I don't think that's the case. There's only, I don't even think Clay has that in his repertoire. There's only one guy I know of that has that in his repertoire where he can literally wait for you. If you're not covering him on and he's open on the three, he'll wait for you to come and then create the contact for the and one. There's only one guy that can do that, and we know who that is. That's Wardell. So I think QP had deer in the headlights. That could have been a game winner. That would have put us up 121, 119 with 1 minute to go. All right. And then the momentum is all on our side because the crowd is going crazy. Instead, like you saw in the highlight, the crowd's like, oh, and then you get this downward spiral. So now we go back to this whole thing about needing a big man. So let me finish this out real quick so that we can bring Dean on and have a good discussion. That made me think. And there's I have them sort of organized. I don't know in which order to say them, but I feel like this game we lacked a big shot maker as opposed to Minnesota. Dante DiVincenzo steps up, but Dante DiVincenzo is like a veteran, and he's been in playoffs and he's been in big games and he wants it. Jaden McDaniels, tough drive against Melton, their best defender, goes in there, lays it in. Terrence Shannon, just going downhill all the time. Like they had the right mentality. Meanwhile, in our crunch time, fourth quarter, we're throwing the ball to the other team. We're getting the wrong guy in transition, or we're forgetting to get a guy in transition. We're not hitting the corner three. That was a razzle dazzle behind the back from Steph. Like we don't have the big shot maker. We got Quentin Post going down the lane, lefty against Rudy Gobert. I mean, seriously, who's winning that battle, right? So this isn't an attempt to throw guys under the bus. I'm just saying it is what it is. And now here's a big if we are basing who we are, some aspect, some core aspect of who we are. We didn't have Draymond. So that is the flaw to this theory, to this thought experiment. The other flaw is that this is a 1-game sample against Minnesota. Although for the young guys, it's really their 4-game sample because they played well against Philly, played well against Cleveland, played well against Chicago. All right, maybe not the best competition. That's not a Western Conference team in there. Then you go against the 6th seed in Minnesota. That is the model of where we need to be. In fact, we're probably there if we don't give away the Milwaukee, Indiana, Portland, and Orlando games, which were, by the way, I put those on the vets. Namely Draymond, because he comes out and he's not motivated and he carelessly throws the ball and tries to thread the needle, those things, but it's on those three to figure it out together, despite the result of Draymond turnovers and stuff. Anyways, if we had won those 4 games, we would be 17-9. We would be right there in the 6th seed where we need to be. And yet we're not. And yet it's, even if we were that good, it would also be a 7-team race for 6 seeds, which means you'd have to be a little bit better than that. So Minnesota is the barometer, in my opinion. However, the Achilles heel to all of this is that that's a 1-game sample. And so what we're missing is is a big shot maker. And then one more time, last time, looking at the article itself, I titled it, Steve Kerr says, we've wanted a Space 5 big man for a decade. And it's like, oh, have we? You know? And I think it's multi-layered. Again, this is not, you can't have this discussion on Twitter, right? Either me telling you or you commenting back. Like, we really need to go through this. It takes multiple comments back and forth, I think. If this is the case, we've wanted a Space 5 big man for a decade. What that tells me is that, A, there wasn't this Space 5 big man for a decade. And I look back, I think he's right, because, and it's not a decade, it's less than that. Zaza Pachulia, do you remember Zaza Pachulia? Great stuff, right? He's doing the between the legs, no look pass to Steph for three, and then screening the guy at the same time. He's doing that. We're like, oh, this is the second coming of Andrew Bogut. But very few people remember that Zaza Pachulia was pretty much mothballed in the 220. Zaza Pachulia was pretty much mothballed in the 2018 playoffs. We battled Houston, remember? 7-game series. Who was key in that? Kevon Looney. Okay, so it sort of went from Zaza to Kevon, and Kevon's not a Space 5. So we haven't had that. And then the second thing that makes me kind of go, oh, this is an interesting quote. The second thing is that Quinton Post is now fulfilling that role. And he's doing it very, very well. So this, of course, again, if you were just to read it in a tweet, it would sound like I'm throwing Quinton Post under the bus, but I'm really not. What I'm saying is, and there was another quote in the pregame and the postgame, because Tim Kawakami apparently is going to do some article on Quinton Post, I think, because he was asking about that specifically. TK is on top of these plus minus things, a pretty good observer of the Warriors. And he goes, I've noticed Quinton Post has had the Warriors' best plus minus over the last few weeks. Steve Kerr goes, yeah. And TK goes, okay, so what do you make of that? So Steve, that's when he said this quote. Even after the game, Quinton Post, pretty good plus minus, I bet. So Quinton Post is killing it as our Space 5 guy, which is an aspect, especially without Draymond, especially without Clay, right? Because the ecosystem started with Steph and Clay and Bogut, morphed into Steph, Clay, KD, Draymond, morphed into, Steph, Clay, Draymond with some great defense from Wiggins, morphed into now it's Steph and Draymond, but now it's Steph and Quinton Post in the last one game, maybe more than that. What was Quinton Post plus minus? -5, which was, pretty good considering. So my thing is, we are, looking back at this quote from Steve, we've wanted a Space 5 for a decade. We finally have him. He's doing great. But against the team that we are measured against almost directly as the 6th seed, Minnesota Timberwolves, Quinton Post was not quite at the level you need him to be as part of the dyad of this Space 5 with Steph. And so that gets me thinking, this guy right here, Miles Turner, right? Same salary or similar salary to Jonathan. But I go back to the last video that I did, which was keep calm and Kuminga on. And that's where we talked about Giannis. And I talked about that with Dean, who is still waiting in the green room. Thanks for your patience. And if we're thinking trades, you have to think from the top down. If Giannis is obtainable, let's go get Giannis. Okay. Dean convinced me of that. You'd probably have to send out Kuminga and Draymond, because I don't know who's going to want Jimmy Butler's contract anywhere. Even if it's a 5-team trade, where does he end up with? Actually, I was thinking, I guess you could throw picks over to Utah, but I don't know. Dean, we can talk about that later. But anyway, I think you do need to start at the top with a guy like Giannis, and then the whole thing about needing a big that changes because Giannis is a different type of player. But as Dean will tell you, he's a former MVP, so it really does change the team. But he's a former MVP. You'd have two MVPs on the same team. That's pretty good. So in the middle of this is, and I'll put myself aside over here real quick, but let's X Gafford, okay? A guy like Gafford is he's not a space five, number one, and it just doesn't fit as well with Steph. Okay, we need mobile guys, or a guy that can be a threat outside the arc. Keeps talking about that. Steve even talked about that with in reference to Pat Spencer. Like Pat really needs to be able to be a threat on the three, which he's now done several times. 3 MFR shots, I count. 2 of them against Chicago. And that also tells me that the three-pointer is just part of the philosophy of this franchise. It's also a philosophy of the entire NBA right now, or most of them, outside of probably, Denver, OKC certainly on the kick sprays. So you got to be able to, if you're not able to shoot the three, then you can just pack it in against that team, whatever it may be. If OKC didn't have complementary players that could hit threes, that could step up and be big shot makers, which they are now, and they've won a championship, they have that pedigree. Like Aaron Wiggins, like, Lou Dort even, like catch and shoot. Who's the other guy? Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace, those guys. Alex Caruso could already do that. So Pat Spencer needs to elevate himself to that role. So again, this tells me that a guy like Daniel Gafford, nah, we're not even considering that. But a guy like Miles Turner, okay, so now if the Giannis pursuit stalls or it just doesn't happen, I think we got to go get Miles Turner as an upgrade to QP, which is odd because then we'd have a glut. We'd have too many. That would effectively make Trace Jackson Davis unutilizable, which means he'd probably be part of the deal. But then you'd have now Horford's injured all the time. So I think you need to, consider that. But if you had Miles as the guy that could actually make the shot that Quentin was too hesitant to take, and then QP be his backup, and then Al Horford is, he's injured and hopefully he's fully healthy for the playoffs, then you don't have to rely on Quentin Post to hit the big shots in the playoffs, which he didn't do any of against Minnesota last season, right? So we have a lot of young guys. It occurs to me now that we've played Minnesota, like the gap, like Minnesota has all these guys in the prime ages. We've got old and too young. We need more like in the middle that will hit the big shots. And so I think we need to start looking for those types of guys. So actually, based on the Minnesota game and what I've seen from Quentin Post with the deer in the headlights, I've got Miles Turner kind of edging out on my ranking of desired one-to-one trades for Kuminga than Trey Murphy, believe it or not. And that's because now I wouldn't be disappointed with Trey Murphy. I love wings. I wanted the Warriors to pick Trey Murphy over Moody that year. But just based on what I saw the other night and the fact that the space five is officially a strategy of the Warriors, I'm thinking that it'd be better to have Miles in there. But there's a lot to digest from this. So let's bring on Dean. Hey, Dean, thanks for waiting, my brother.
Of course. How's it going, Rich?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? And then talk about some other stuff. You want to talk about JK too. It's all interrelated.
Well, I was looking at a trade machine, and it looks like we'd have to send out an additional $2.8 million alongside Kuminga. To get Turner. So
exactly, we should do that homework as well. But I knew salaries were close enough.
Yeah, the guy closest to that 2.8 is Melt, and I don't think we'd include that. BP's making 3.6. Peyton
Well,
and
you
Santos,
could
all
have
those guys are.
you could have Milwaukee send back. These are just filler pieces, but
No, we need to send out additional salary alongside Kaminga.
Alongside Kaminga.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He's
that
at 25. Kaminga's at 20.
say it's pods. Then that's 2
Homecoming.
months. Then you have Milwaukee send back. Kind of play that game, but those are just filler, I think. Cap sheets, capsheets.com. Oh, I lost Dean right at that moment, but okay. Let's take a look at that. Let's keep going through the exercise because this is what you got to do. But Jonathan Kaminga, 22.5, Milwaukee. Capsheets.com, people. Yossi Goslin. Miles Turner, 25,318. 22.5, so 22.5 minus 25,318 equals 2.8 million. I mean, I haven't even really gotten to this part. Oh, here's D. So I think we want to. I think let's take a step back from actually finalizing the transaction with those details. Don't you think that, generally speaking, it can be figured out with a combination of salaries?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
I'll go take a look at the comments. You go ahead.
Yeah. Also, I have to say, first and foremost, Kevin Durant, I think, counts as a stretch five. So that was always useful to have a guy who could protect the rim and shoot like that. Post, to me, sure, he's a stretch five on offense. He's not really a true center, though, in my opinion, on the defensive end. I don't think he has the same rim protecting abilities as, if Horford were hitting more shots, he would be a true stretch five. And I think you could play them together.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I think Miles can do it. I mean, Miles can do whatever QP can do, and QP's a R5.
Huh? I don't. What do you mean?
You're saying that Miles isn't a true five. I'm saying
No. I'm saying Post. Post is not a true five.
Oh,
Turner is a good 3-point shooter who has repeatedly led the league in blocks.
Yeah.
So, okay. I think you can play him and QP together, right? That was the idea with Horford, who's struggled and, just we've been on the road so much. It's not been good for him as a veteran.
Yeah, we didn't have but we had the double big when Steph was off the floor in the beginning.
Sure.
First couple games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think you could have both on there, I guess. Double big if needed.
Yeah, and I would like that. I would like that size. Although, I guess the next question is, who's the head coach? Steve Kerr. And is Turner going to be able to be the playmaker that we've always wanted from? That was the thing about Looney, about Bogut, about Draymond, obviously playing the small ball center. Kerr wants these guys to be able to know how to set proper screens and especially be solid playmakers more than he wants them to score, in my opinion. I mean, that's the way it plays out, most of the time, and it's why Pat Spencer and Brandon Pajemski are getting so many minutes. He likes ball handlers who are able to play make, and those are obviously also hustle guys too, so he gives them a lot more leeway on the offensive end than JK, for instance, or I'm trying to think of another player who's like that. Oh well, I think you guys know what I mean. So I think we have to take that into consideration for Turner. It's just the top of the key playmaking, motion ball, you know, being constantly a screen setter. In fact, that's something I think that is not helping Horford. When I think about Horford on the Celtics, lots of times, you know, he would be in his position, and it's a lot more difficult than I think a lot of people realize, especially because Draymond's so good that he makes it look easy. Constantly running around the top of the, you know, the 23-9 art of the 3-point line, and constantly setting screens. You're not in great rhythm compared to, you know, uh, getting to your position, having a Jason Tatum go down the lane, swing to the corner, someone closes out, Horford's open, catch and shoot. It's not the same thing. You're constantly in motion. Your feet aren't set. You're probably a little bit more tired. Obviously, you know, you're setting as hard a screen as you can, you know, which is very physical in a different way than defense, you know, because you're going to create contact. So I think Turner can do that, and it would be great to have, again, a QP and Miles Turner mix. Obviously, we wouldn't be giving up Draymond, same team, Bucks, you know. Uh, but I guess one question is, you know, would Milwaukee want Chemsky and Kuminga? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's dependent on what happens with Giannis. Look, I'm actually not thrilled about this. It's just the theory, the thought experiment, as it says in the title, of, oh, so you know the Space Five thing is a big deal to you, and then, oh, the Space Five got the shot we wanted in the moment that we wanted, and he missed it, and he hesitated. And I'm like, okay, maybe we need an upgrade right there. That, which is an odd way to fix the problem, isn't it? And then I look at the 17-0 run, and I see a lot of the youngster mistakes in that run with Steph on the bench. Although Melton and Steph came in, and then Melton made a mistake on defense. He's getting back into it though. Yeah, so like,
Sure.
I'm actually not thrilled about this one, but okay, if we were to really just stay in that rabbit hole of Miles Turner from Milwaukee, and the Giannis thing didn't happen, that'd be great if we could get both somehow, huh? anyways, no, we can't.
You're getting the whole team here, Rich.
We would have to end up somewhere, which is another thing we haven't talked about. Probably for another podcast, we should do one on, is there a landing spot for Jimmy somewhere? Okay, so and then I also think, okay, if I'm thinking about Miles Turner, which is, maybe we should talk about this next. I should have put him in the thumbnail, but I kind of wanted Gafford in there, and I thought Giannis. I want to make sure people understood that Gafford is not the fit, no way. And then based on, also once again, based on what Steve said on the podium, and then Lauri Markkanen. If we're, you know, if we're looking at Miles Turner, wouldn't you still look at Lauri Markkanen if Giannis, because Lauri's a 50 million guy, so yeah, these are like MVP level or 50 million level guys, right? Not saying Lowry's an MVP guy. I mean, he could be considered an MVP if he played like super good.
He's never played in the playoffs. You know, we don't know how he'll respond to the playoffs.
Sorry,
So,
yeah, I didn't mean to go like that, but I know, I'm glad you brought me back down to earth. But so let's talk about Laurie when you get a chance, when you think it's the right time to talk about that. But as far as Miles Turner for JK and Pods, would Milwaukee want that? Yeah, I think then you're getting into the this is a more important discussion here for you, Dean, before you go to the Lowry marketing exercise.
Mm.
If the Giannis pursuit does not work out, would you go ahead and start spending first round draft picks for a $25 million guy like a Miles Turner, or by the way, like a Trey Murphy? By the way, I still like Trey Murphy, like that, like emotionally. I love wings. I just love wings. I love to watch him play and everything. So, but logically, this is all telling me that maybe Miles Turner is actually the right target. So I spit out a lot there, Dean.
Yeah. I think we're able to trade 4 draft picks right now. That's a lot. That if you
Let's
trade
name
one,
them real quick. 27, 29, 31, and 33. Is that right? Or no, but you got the Stepien rule. Let's
yeah.
review that one more time. But you can trade the 2030, the other conditions of it, the protection part, right?
Sorry, one more time.
What are the exact picks that we can send out?
Let's see. So 2030, we don't have a pick. So you have to draft in 29, 26, 28, 31. And so maybe it's 3. I thought I read somewhere that, but I mean, yeah.
Well, you could
Some
trade
of the
the
beat writers don't.
you could trade the 2030 protected part, right? Which is top 20.
Add more protections on it.
Well,
Yeah.
what is the protection on the Washington pick? I mean, the pick that we gave to Washington for Chris Paul.
Or
So you could trade that part, right? So that'd be like 3.5 draft picks, sort of.
well, it'd be better to just do swaps on the other odd year ones, I think.
All right. So bottom line, can we trade 3 or 4 of them? I was thinking 3 due to the 2030.
Well, if you want to do picks and swaps, we can do 26, 27, 28, 29, 31, 32.
Yeah, but Stepien rule. So what can we really?
No, you can do swaps with protections.
Oh, swaps.
That roll over.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm. So the point I was trying to make though is that combined together is a much better asset than throwing them off. Like for this, 4 quarters do not equal $1, if you get what I mean. You know?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that is too valuable to me to pick them off one by one, unless we're making a bunch of different trades and it's one draft pick each, you know. So in terms of that, I don't know if I would go around, you know, trading off picks like that. No.
Yeah, interesting. Well, okay, so what if I told you, well, Steph's window is closing, you know, his own contract ends summer 2027, and let's call it, he said before on the podium on media day, 2 years by 2 years. So let's say realistically we've got him till summer 2029, and you'd think he'd start declining by then, probably. Maybe not. Who knows? He could be the actual GOAT. No, but the argument would be, okay, but the window's closing. Why wouldn't you start just using Steph's words, fling in some assets?
Because
Maybe it just
it's
takes
more
one.
valuable to keep them all together for a trade that's
Down the line.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, this isn't his last year of his contract anyway. No.
All right, let's appease Ace 1900. All right. I do think go all in on Giannis now. Okay, I agree. What about you, Dean?
Oh, we have to.
That means draft picks. Yeah.
Yeah.
That means fling those assets, baby.
And again, I
Wow,
keep
we have
picturing-
to. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I keep picturing Jimmy and Giannis playing together, and
Yeah.
Jimmy having that role, man. I mean, again, just thinking about what he was able to do with Bam Adebayo, and then a bunch of role-playing shooters.
Here's
Now,
the
that's
thing.
Giannis, and you add Steph on top of that.
I've just
Why?
Dean. I've just
I do love Draymond, though. I love Draymond. I hate
Yeah.
the idea of losing him. I want to say that. Please go ahead.
Yeah, let's talk about that after this last thought, which is while you were talking about the Jimmy to Giannis, pick and roll, or
Sure. Yeah.
as you were talking about that, I'm thinking, all right, Steph's on the weak side. Then wait a minute, Steph's on the weak side. Wait a minute, Steph isn't running around. Wait a minute, this could actually be good for Steph's health.
Oh, I think about Giannis setting back pick corner to corner, you know, where he's under the hoop and Steph's going by to the right corner and Jimmy's going left, and either Jimmy's going to get a wide open jumper, mid-range jumper, or he's going to find Giannis, or everyone's going to follow Steph, and Giannis is going to get a free, attack at the rim, or you could just give the ball to Giannis and he can do the Draymond to Jimmy, Megatron thing, and Jimmy setting screens for Steph, or
no,
Steph,
I like all of those.
Pick and roll.
I honestly like all those examples where Steph is actually on the weak side, like chilling for a little bit.
Yeah, we got two guys we can really trust to be playmakers.
I mean, he's 37. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
38 by the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, prolong that a little bit. So, yeah. I mean, so that's another argument to fling those assets and go all in, right?
Exactly, but not piece by piece.
Yeah, but let's say Giannis gets traded to, I don't know, New York. Then that's done. Then what other 50 million guys are coming up in the pipeline of salaries, which you can actually see here. I've got it saved up. I nothing pops out to me, even the ones that'll move up the ladder, like Donovan Mitchell, like all those guys. Like I don't know, right? So then maybe you go ahead and fling a first round pick in addition to Jonathan and Pods or whatever, for a guy like Miles Turner that is more of an incremental type upgrade, like a big increment, but incremental rather than Giannis. But yeah, we've talked about a lot of these. We've thrown them out. Want to talk about losing Draymond in the process of going all in for Giannis?
Oh, not really. I love Dray. But well, you talk about Gafford, right? One of the reasons I don't think that would work is we're not trading Draymond for Gafford. And I love Loon, I thought it was really
Gafford's
impressive.
only making like 13 million, I think.
Oh, not salary-wise, I'm not talking about that. I'm not sure those two would be great together, and then it's difficult to play Horford or Post or another stretch big next to him, You get what I mean? You can't really have Draymond, Gafford, and Post or Horford on the court all at once. Most of the time.
Yeah, I don't know why we're talking about Gafford. Like that just doesn't.
Well, I was trying to point out why there are certain type of rim protector, which would be useful, that it would be great to have alongside Draymond because they're taller than him, bigger than him. But it would be good to have a guy who's able to space the floor next to Dre. Alongside a QP or someone like that. Oh, that'd be crazy. Turner, Draymond, and QP, Jimmy and Steph. That's a pretty big lineup. Yeah. I do like size, man. I wish we played a little bit more size. JK getting a DMP and Santos playing 6 minutes. I just don't understand that. Maybe you can help me with that. I just don't get what,
right. Yeah.
What Kerr's thinking with that. I don't understand it.
Okay, this is another one of those things where you can't look at it by stepping back from it. You have to look at it inside of like, let me put it this way, inside of the submarine in Hunt for Red October, right? You can't look at it from the radar screen where it's a blip going here and there. You have to know what's going on inside of the freaking submarine. And I think what's happening, I mean, I can see where we ended up here from last week because, all right, this is one thing maybe I didn't say clearly. I've got a Cleveland honest recap that I just never got around to because I did the Kaminga one here. It's all edited already, so I might as well do that one and tack this thing that I'm going to say on top of it, which is
Sure.
at the time when JK was substituted out at the end of the Cleveland game for Guy Santos. My first thing was I was even going to put this in the title. I was like, did Kaminga play bad? And you know what it was? In my opinion, based on my analysis of that game, and I will post the honest recap soon, a little bit late, a week later. But the punchline is that it wasn't that JK played all that bad, even though he had two turnovers by that point. It was that Guy was playing awesome. Like the one thing I recall was Guy making that spin move on the 1v1 play, spun on Craig Porter Jr., fake, got fouled, go to the line. I was like, Guy Santos has that in his bag? I had no idea.
I remember that. I remember that play.
I'm feeling Steve Kerr sitting there going, damn, Guy's on a heater tonight. And then also, there was a similar thing that happened with Jonathan. He had Craig Porter on him, although it was on the perimeter, but he did not have the wherewithal. Maybe didn't have the confidence yet because he just got back from injury. He's also under the microscope with Steve Kerr, you know. And this was before he got the DNP, though. So then Buddy Hield comes and sets an on-ball pick. What should have happened was, in fact, I think Buddy was like, Trace, go post up your guy. You're switched on to a small guy. Or actually, I just remember Buddy, it was confusion. Buddy was like trying to get Trace to post up with Craig Porter on Kaminga on the right wing. Trace went away because he's like, oh, let me let Kaminga work, which is cool of Trace to do. But it was Craig Porter, and you're not really getting past a point guard like that easily. You can body him and everything, but like Kaminga has trouble with guys of that size. I'm pretty sure he's been instructed to take anybody that's bigger than you, take him off the dribble and just burn the guy, get downhill. And what should have happened was instead of Buddy coming over to set a pick for JK, it should have been JK reset, go post up, Trace cleared out, go post up on Craig Porter. So reset up to Buddy.
Right.
And that thing just didn't happen. And this was before the Guy, spin move. And it's like, it's the feel of it. So that's why Steve
But
went with Guy.
that doesn't explain why we benched him 2 straight games and then didn't play Santos.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'll get to that. So then next game, so that explains why against Chicago, you're like coming up with the spreadsheets and you're going, okay, here's the rotation, this, that. It ended up that, let's look at it. It ended up, I think Guy played only 6 minutes. And I think Gary only played 4 minutes. What day was that? Oh, that was Sunday because we had 4 days off. Box score. By the way, Dean, thanks for coming on a Sunday. It's 1 o'clock. We gotta wrap this up real soon because I gotta go home and see the Niners game with my dad. But man, Pajewski played great that game. Okay, Gary Payton 4 minutes in. Oh, my fault. Guy Santos, did he start? 1, 2, 3, 4. He started. Guy Santos started? Wow. No, Will Richard, my fault. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, we DMP'd Will Richard and Seth Curry last game too. That's
yeah. So I'll get to that
stuff, man.
That'll be the last thing I talk about. So we're getting there. And then we'll cover comments Guy Santos 6-man. So I think that game we decided, all right, we'll make Guy Santos 6-man, and we had Melton coming back, right? Because he rested the other night, so he had to come back this game. So I felt that was the reason why JK got DNP'd. We're on a roll with these guys without Steph. Then Minnesota, I think basically same thing for Minnesota, is that you're game planning this, and you're going. What was it? Was it Friday? Yeah, Friday. And you're game planning this, and you're going. The other Friday, the 12th, and that's where JK was left off the spreadsheet, because now you're going with Gary and Guy. Sprinkle them in early, see how they do. If they pop, then maybe play them more. But Gary only got 4 minutes. Guy only got 6.5. So the power forward position of Guy / JK was already written out of the script, if you will, and kind of went with Moody. And also, I think a factor was Anthony Edwards wasn't playing. So normally you'd kind of want JK to body it up, that kind of, linebacker built type body. So I think that had something to do with it. And so that's why in this particular moment on the submarine and in crisis, Steve Kerr has planned it out, and it's urgent time, and he just wrote Jonathan out of the script, which is why we move on to the next game. Now we have Draymond coming back, so I'm like, okay, Draymond's going to replace Trace Jackson Davis in all of this, I think. We're going to see Quentin Post featured again, because we're a Space 5 team now, and Jimmy's back, and Steph is back. And, the only guy that really played bad was Brandon. So if there's, maybe you put in Seth or Brandon, although speaking of that, Seth isn't really a playmaker. He's a play finisher, right? So that's the thing with pods, is that only Steph, Pat Spencer, Brandon, but now D'Anthony's also a playmaker. He can take off the dribble. Maybe there's something you could do here, but it's a guard. It's not a power forward. So just kind of looking at it from bird's eye view, I don't see how JK gets fit into here. And even if he did, I wouldn't want to see JK for 6 minutes. That's not enough. So Guy Santos in those 6 minutes is better at what he does in those 6 minutes than Jonathan, which is, again, I've said it a million times, but not only did he come over from Democratic Republic of Congo at age 13, which is kind of late in the AAU scale of things, but like JK is more of an old school, your turn, my turn, pickup ball, playground. Like if we were to go to the playground right now and we pick teams, Dean, I'm picking JK as probably my top pick as far as, if Steph's not there, as far as guys to win this pickup game, right? Like it's kind of like no system, nobody's screening for anybody. You're posting up, you're fading away. It's Kobe, it's Michael Jordan, it's 90s era basketball. So that's why Kuminga doesn't fit. Hope I didn't miss anything there. All right, I'll let you.
I think that's why Kerr thinks he doesn't fit. I don't agree with just saying you're not playing at all today, though. Especially when Kerr obviously wants him to be traded. We suck anyway. Like, get his value up, man.
Oh, right. Well, I don't. Okay. Again, it's the captain on the submarine thing.
Yeah, it's not seeing the forest for the trees, or seeing the trees instead of the forest, right? One tree by one tree. Yeah, I get that.
He's already addressed that on the podium. Shout out Slater. Slater point blank. Do you think it affects JK's trade value? And he prefaced that by saying this is going to be a weird question. And then Steve just said, Bob Myers told me, he asked me one time, so it's easier to be a coach than a GM, huh? Because Steve had been a GM. And he goes, yeah. Oh, but why'd you say that? And Bob goes, well, as a GM, I have a million possibilities. Everything's possible. But as a coach, you just have to coach the game with the pieces that you've got that day. And so it is, yeah, it is kind of, yeah. I can't blame him, but also I wish Steve would have the force for the trees. But then again, maybe most GMs understand this. You would think that NBA GMs are smart and they know that JK has value in a particular environment.
They're going to use that against us, though, even though they know
Yeah,
they'll do better. They're going to use that against us. And what are we going to say? Well, no, because our coach is benching our fifth highest paid player, but he's going to be good with you. We know, but you can't actually prove that, can you? No. And Steve Kerr is excellent at X's and O's. He's excellent generally at keeping a good locker room, ego management, all that type of stuff. I understand that, but I don't think anyone would be okay if we had a different coach come in and not play our young, highly paid players that way. That would not, we're relying on Kerr being a champion in the past to trust that this is the right move, which hasn't worked yet. Let's be honest. We're 500 and haven't come close to making it out of the second round since title, since J.K. and Moody's rookie year. But all these Pat Spencer, 4-guard lineup type things, 3-guard lineups where Steph is playing the small forward, all that will work well if we have Jimmy and Giannis. It'll work. We know it's going to work. That's exactly the kind of team. Jimmy and Giannis make all the other 3-4-guard lineups, ball handling role players who don't want to go one-on-one, don't want to take 25 shots a game. They're just there to do a specific job and have a very defined role. All that works with Jimmy and Giannis. We know that Jimmy and Giannis both love those consistent role players who can shoot threes, who love shooting threes. And then you throw Steph on top of that. Obviously, that's that'd be the dream. And I'm resigned to the fact that this will never work with Kerr as a head coach and JK and honestly Moody. It's just we're not going to go anywhere. So we need to make a move, and that's fine because we're not firing Kerr.
I don't know.
We're not going to do that. So we just have to accept it. We have to give Kerr the team he wants.
Well, look,
there's nothing else we can do.
I hear you, but along with a lot of other, angry people that put it more angrily than you would, without the grace of giving Steve a little bit of room, a little bit of grace. I just look at it as nobody's perfect, Even Steph isn't perfect, He'll do those turnovers. He'll behind the back to Clay out of bounds in Game 7 of crunch time of, the 2016 finals. Okay, so we've lost.
Clay was open though. I understand why he threw that pass. He just didn't do it well.
Yeah, well, everybody has blemishes, and like the system that Steve created for Steph, which Steph has bought into last time he was on the podium or 2 times ago, just talking about organized chaos. I put it on the website. It's pretty clear that Steph likes it that way and wants to keep it that way, where you need high IQ guys around him and running around and knowing exactly what to do. And it is actually a beautiful thing. But the caveat to that is that you're not going to be able to get a Jonathan Kuminga to fit in easily on that. And obviously, JK is the most stark example, but he even, but Moody is kind of fitting into place.
As a
And
role
also,
player, not as a lottery pick. If you
yeah,
get what I
but
mean.
Moody, based on what I've seen and the opportunities for him to take a man off the dribble and everything, I mean, he's a fringe lottery. He's the limit 14th pick. Like Moody isn't a top 10 pick. There's a difference. Lottery goes 1 to 14, but top 5, as Eric G has said here on this and our Love Your Dub Summit, he said that top 5 is a franchise changer. So 5 to, I would say, 10 is kind of like you expect them to be a rotation player. And you expect JK to be a rotation player by now. But in this system that was designed for Steph, like now we're learning, little too late that it doesn't fit that way. And so I think our draft strategy has changed due to this. Not that we've had a number 7 pick to see the result of whatever that new number 7 pick would be alongside Steph. We may never get to that position. And all I got to say
Hopefully
is
not.
the part that troubles me is everybody's so mad at Steve when they forget the happy part, which is when things are clicking, the organized chaos, like all of that. Did you forget to thank Steve for that? Because he's just as responsible as that, as anybody else, other than Steph himself executing it, other than Clay previously executing it, or Draymond and stuff. But like he was the architect of that. It's just that in an imperfect world, nobody's perfect. So you can't expect this is the one thing that everybody eventually shows their one thing. And so I'm okay with it. And like, let's just adjust and do what we can. But yeah, I feel the frustration. Yeah, I get it. And yeah, maybe someday there will be this super awesome coach that could do it all. Who knows? Maybe that's Eric Spoelstra. We'll see, right? It takes decades to figure that out. But like to really evolve so quickly and all of that, I mean, you could look at Eric Spoelstra's results and you could find ways to nitpick him. So I think that's a lot of it too, is the expectation of certain segments of Warriors fans out there on social media.
To be fair, Spoelstra didn't really play Tyler Hero when he came back and was healthy in those finals in 23. Which is not something that made sense to most people. But he felt it was right, Nevertheless, the point is, Kerr won't, I think, or maybe can't do it. So let's just give him the team he wants. Because I'm not going to sit up here and say this is something that's so, I don't want to put Steph in a last dance situation where it's like, no matter what happens, we think we need a new voice for head coach, and coach leaves and Steph's like, I'm retiring. I'd rather just stick with it and see how it goes than alienate our main guys. And Steph, Dre, and Jimmy, I don't know if you remember how much Jimmy's been saying, we love the coaching staff, we love, fine, just give them the team that they want. And I wish it weren't like that. I think especially JK's ability to attack the hoop and draw fouls, playing to his strengths rather than constantly looking at his weaknesses. Because you don't, in basketball, and I think as a coach, you know this, Rich, you don't really try and make people's weaknesses that much better. You try and hide them. You try and play to guys' strengths. And I don't think we've really been able to do that with Kuminga, personally. But what's the point in going on? What's the point going on with this? Let's just figure out something that'll work. And we have this year, and next year with Steph under contract, Jimmy under contract, Dre under contract. As we know, this is another thing about keeping the powder kind of dry, unless it's Giannis. We have all those guys coming off the books, and we have all of our draft picks in like 18 months or whatever it is coming up. You know, so it's not like we're completely out of options, which is great. And obviously, let me give this praise to Steve Kerr. He has been great at developing guys from unknowns into solid role players. And it's happened time and time and time again. You know, Keith Santos, Quentin Post, Will Richard. Yeah, I was going to say Ryan Rollins showed a little promise, but obviously he wasn't on the team for that long. But Lindy Waters and man, all these guys, he's been really solid at that. And if we have a real second scoring option next to Steph, who's not Jimmy, Jimmy's a mover, right? He's not. I know his nickname's Jimmy Buckets and all that, but he's the guy who makes things happen, right? If you have another guy next to Steph who's like, get out of my way, give me the ball, I'm going to the hoop every time. All those role players, all those shooters, all those guys who know what Kerr wants them to do in their very specific role, who are not trying to become, make all-star teams or get big contract, guys who are just solid, veteran, smart role players. We have a great team to fit around those type of guys, we really do. And I don't know. We have the assets to make a big move. And we have to make a move, basically. You know what I mean? I don't think we can finish the season with this same stuff. Do you?
Unless something changes, and that's the thing is I don't think it's hard to tell when you're stuck in the moment of it. Yeah. So we have another month. It's December 14th. We have exactly a month. January 14th and 15th is when, January 15th is when Kuminga can be traded. So then
I think we'll wait till February, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, wait until give it some more. We got to see the team with Draymond. So
sure.
I think kind of rushing to conclusion on that we got to make a change. But yeah, if unless JK, see, that's why I think still JK could still find his way back into the rotation based on the submarine example. Like you're going around and all these things. So just one little thing might happen, one little thing. So I think that maybe that's really what we've identified here is the disconnect between the fans and those that are really close with understanding Steve. And you do have to spend every day with them, and you do have to be like me, transcribe every damn interview, that every word that Steve speaks to the public, I'm there, right? So like I get the feeling that Steve is just stuck in a submarine and he's just trying to fix it. And there may be an assistant coach that goes, hey, tap on the shoulder. Hey, Steve, here's Portland. They're super athletic. Just play Jonathan, damn it. We will never know.
Against the Timberwolves, though. They have Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, and Julius Randle. And
I just explained it. You see what happens? I just explained it. And you guys are still stuck on that. Can I say maybe that, how about the game before the Bulls? You've got to consider Minnesota. You can't look at any game in a vacuum. You just can't. You have to look at the previous game at least.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to suggest that I was only looking at that game in a vacuum. I just don't. I think there's a level of discomfort between both sides here, and it's not an emotional or personal issue. I just think
it's video.
They don't really mesh,
It's easy to say that right now, but going into it after you just beat Chicago the way that you beat them, you're adding Steph to that, It's like, let's just add Steph to that and not mess that up too much, because maybe we found the secret sauce already. And that's another thing that deserves its own podcast, really, is Steve's way of doing this the right way? And of course, everyone's going to say no. No, but like, first of all, you've got to be a coach.
Well, the vets seem to be
understand
saying yes, which is the point I was trying to make.
the
Steph
way that
Curry
Steve
Jr.
does this is sort of one way to look at it. One probably, far too easy way to look at it is to say that Steve tries these combinations. He's got analytics people that help him find those right combinations. And oh, you found the right combination. 2.5 games of really good play. They're passing the ball. They're whipping it back and forth. That's the whole strategy. If you don't even have Steph, even when you have Steph, move the ball so that the defense has to make multiple decisions. Like if you're saying that he's doing it the wrong way, then we've got to look at that. Like, people, do you understand that? Anybody, random person watching this, you have to understand that if you're saying fire Kerr, you have to say that what way are we supposed to be doing it better than move the ball around? And there are actually multiple answers to that. Like, you could go OKC route. Okay, you go OKC route, you need 2 guys that can break guys off the dribble. OKC has Shea and Jalen Williams, right? So there's a paradigm. You could go study Eric Spoelstra, see what he's doing over there, and the list goes on and on. It could be, another. Lakers have Luka. Okay, then that paradigm is you need to go find yourself a Luka to start.
and LeBron. Yeah, it's difficult.
So, like, you've got to understand that Steve is looking at things the way that he looks at things, which is
Sure.
okay. And so the broad way of saying it is Steve looks for ways to catch a streak, and he found it, and he's sticking with that paradigm. Okay, but we lost now against Minnesota. Actually, we almost won. And that's why I'm going back to the title of this.
Without Edwards and
Quentin
Steph at
Post.
39, though,
Stop it. No, Quentin Post hits that 3. We're not here talking about this, Dean.
But the issue
Literally.
is we did this last season against the Rockets, where we didn't play committee. We did it the year before in 24 with moving away from the inverted screens. We did a year before that with playing Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome over Moody and Kuminga. So there's a level of discomfort Kerr has that's just been there for years, So if you're saying fire Kerr, first and foremost, ask Steph, Dre, and Jimmy, because I think that will piss them off. Secondly, you have to tell me who else you're talking about, because the better option is just give him the team he wants. He's not changing. Steph doesn't want it. Steph doesn't want that change. So just
that's the
I'm
other
a
thing.
Kuminga guy, but let it go. We have to let it go and just accept that, barring a miracle where everything works out, JK takes over and dominates, and Kerr has a change of mind. I don't want to say a change of heart, because I don't think they have. I think they have a fine relationship, But barring that happening, I don't know what else can happen.
Yeah.
We can get a solid player for JK. Throw in some extra pieces. We can get a real solid player. Make some difficult. I mean, JK, Moody, Pajemski, Draymond, bunch of picks. That's not. You can go superstar hunting a little bit with that. If not, hey man. Again, we have a lot of flexibility going forward. What we don't have, what we had in the past, was I think we're less like, we could make a trade, but if you don't want to do it, we're happy with where we're at. I think that was a lot more true in the past than it is now. We have to get the whole squad together, of course, but we also, there's a little bit more urgency now to make a move like this to get us out of being the 8th seed again. You know, I mean, I love the way we played at the end of last year. We did all that just to get to the 7th seed, though. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
23-8 to get to the 7th seed that's rough, man.
to wrap it all up, and I really do need to wrap it up.
Yeah, sorry.
Boy, we're kicking off there. No, I appreciate it. It's gonna cause a lot of more hours on editing, but that's okay. To recap one last time, because it coincides with what I'm doing on the what I'm doing in the comments is at the top of the live. What I noticed, like, if Minnesota is our benchmark and we take this as a 1-game sample that is our identity, no Draymond, it's probably unfair, but no, I've actually noticed for a while now. Although QP is on the up and up, he's great. He's just not quite Miles Turner to make those big shots when we need them, to break a 17-0 or 15-0 run by attacking Rudy Gobert. I could picture Miles Turner doing that and executing it. So QP is a great prospect. He's the next Miles Turner. So that's why now I'm thinking,
not defensively, but yeah, I mean,
okay, yeah, there. But that actually adds to my point. Thank you. So that's all I'm saying, is that one thing I noticed was that maybe the seemingly incremental upgrade is the actual upgrade that's needed. And of course, once again, to recap, we would prefer going all out for Giannis. But I'm starting to think, and I still need to marinate on this, I'm starting to think that because, especially without Draymond, it's a dyad out there. I mean, there's multiple dyads. There's Jimmy when Steph is on the bench. There's that part. There's Steph, obviously. We know that. And then now with the Space 5 thing that Kerr keeps talking about, and Quentin's really good results, maybe you just need that extra boost with the guy that's already the finished product on that. And I'm the guy that wanted Trey Murphy this whole time as an upgrade on the wing, because even against Minnesota, we didn't really need the wing. We kept getting beat on the corners, on the wings, on the handoff sets that Chris Finch expertly drew up, and yet we still almost won that game. So that's what I'm thinking. But thanks, everybody.
And I just want to say,
yeah,
one of the reasons I say QP is more of a stretch 4 in a way, on rather than a full 5, is that one of the other reasons we got beat is we could not stop Rudy Gobert. And Draymond's able to do that to some degree, but you don't want him doing that all season long, you know? So being able to really protect the rim and get rebounds, I think is actually, if you can shoot, that's actually a huge, huge deal. Offensive rebounds too, because it felt like Gobert was crashing through our defense like a bowling ball through pins, you know? So I do think that's a very important point, and one of the reasons they got those open shots, and we still almost won anyway. So, yeah, I wasn't going into this thinking Miles Turner would be, because we've talked about him for, it's got to be at least 5-6 years. Every year we talk about this guy. You know?
Well, and we've talked about him in terms of, well, why would Indiana trade him? And exactly. So now it's an opportunity, and it only comes up because Milwaukee's struggling. So, and we got tons of comments we're not going to get to, but I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to go live. We're going to go right back here. Are you around, Dean? Or you got to work?
I have work tonight. Yeah.
I'm going to be right back here in freaking 4 hours.
Yeah. That's the life.
And we'll talk about it more, but no, you guys, it's cool. Also, I feel like I've turned over a new leaf lately. The comments don't affect me as much anymore because I've learned to
I can tell.
The ones that are outrageous, it's like, okay, let's take a step back. How did you get there, brother? You know, like I still want to help people, but like if we can backtrack and go, like, how did you end up with the result of fire Kerr? Okay, let's go all the way back. Let's roll it back. So it becomes that. So I appreciate that, and it feels good to finally like reach another level. I feel like, yeah, if anybody doing warrior stuff has reached a level, hey, I reached a new level. You looking at the comments, Dean, real quick? Yeah, save the comments. We'll come back.
Yes, sir.
Oh, the one about Guy. Why did he only? Yeah. Oh, I talked about that. Did I talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. We touched on it.
Rewind. It's
Yep.
about. It's in regards to, yeah. Dean asked the question, and I tried to help answer it. Think captain of a submarine. Unless you can come up with a better metaphor, Dean. Think
Yeah.
about that as you're working. No, just
Oh, I
kidding.
like Sean Connery, Hunt for Red
Oh,
October.
Sean Connery. No, I
Yeah.
was talking about Hunt for Red October.
That's Sean Connery.
No, that was that's 007. No, that was what's his name? Famous actor and Sean Connery. Yeah, you're right. I'm thinking young Sean Connery. I totally forgot the captain of the ship was the Russian guy and it was played by Sean Connery. My bad. But who's the other actor, Dean?
That's all right. That's all right, Rich. No problem.
Oh, see, that was worth it. But it's I'm gonna be kicking myself on my drive home. Who is the other actor?
Oh, I haven't seen that movie.
Opposite Sean Connery.
I haven't seen that movie.
So famous guy. One of the brothers. All right. Someone will tell me later. All right. Save your
Baldwin.
Thank you.
Alec Baldwin, yeah.
Thank you, Alec Baldwin. Did somebody? Oh, thank you, Bruce. All right, I gotta go. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in 4 hours.
Yep.
Thank you, Dean. Have a good work
Versus
session and
Trailblazers.
drive safe.
I will,
Trailblazer.
man.
Bye-bye.
Yep.